More than a year ago, while still in Vietnam, Vaughn witnessed a person die for the first time. Witnessing someone die means seeing them transition suddenly from life to death. This person was Mr. Tho, who lived 3 houses away from Vaughn in a small alley in Ward 10, Tan Binh district. Vaughn didn't know Mr. Tho just because they were neighbors. In a place where neighbors rarely interacted and led separate lives, their paths wouldn't normally cross, especially given their age difference. By address standards, Van would call him Uncle. Their acquaintance stemmed from Mr. Tho being the bus driver on Van's daily route to work. Whether she liked it or not, she saw him at least once every morning. There was a time when buses were a popular means of public transport, often crowded with passengers. However, with Vietnam's shift to a market economy, people in Saigon began buying motorbikes. The rise of motorbike taxis made buses less efficient on congested streets where traffic laws were often ignored. Van, lacking alternative transport, reluctantly relied on the bus. The vehicle was usually empty, and whenever Van boarded, Mr. Tho would cheerfully ask her random questions despite the rule against drivers talking while driving. Van would respond in kind, choosing a seat near him to chat and pass the time. Their conversations were usually trivial, occasionally spiced with local gossip. Mr. Tho, unmarried and childless, lived with his brother's family, considering them his own. At 45, his face bore signs of a hard life, with dark skin and hair that always fell over his forehead. He rarely smiled, though his smile was bright, revealing teeth stained yellow from heavy smoking. He smoked Mai, a strong domestic tobacco, and always had a pack with him. In traffic jams, he would often step out for a quick smoke. In Saigon, smoking was so common that people didn't mind the smoke. One morning, while on the bus to work, Van was recounting a neighborhood jealousy story. Suddenly, the bus lurched to the right, climbed a curb, hit a tree, and stopped. The engine still running, Mr. Tho slumped over the wheel, causing the horn to blare continuously. Fortunately, the tree prevented any further accidents. Passengers stood up in alarm. Van shook Mr. Tho's shoulder, panicking. "Mr. Tho, have you lost control? Wake up!" After a while, it was clear he wouldn't respond. Passengers, worried about being late, began leaving. A few regulars and Van tried to help, propping him up and stopping the horn. Mr. Tho's head lolled to one side, his face pale, eyes lifeless. He had suffered a heart attack, though locals thought he was hit by the wind, reluctant to believe he was truly dead because it happened so suddenly. Van, looking around, asked, "Does anyone have any medicated oil? Any oil will do." People suggested calling the police or an ambulance. They tried various measures to revive him, but it was futile. Some voiced their frustration. "He's probably dead. It's the wind, I'm sure." With that, people began to disperse to avoid any trouble when the authorities arrived. Van, unable to abandon her neighbor, believed he might still be alive. She flagged down a motorized cyclo, asking the driver to take Mr. Tho to the hospital. She said, "Please, hurry. He might just be suffocated." She offered to pay, but the driver, bewildered, refused. "Aren't you going with him? I can't take him alone. What if he's dead?" Van pleaded, but the driver insisted. "If you're not his family, I won't take him. People will ask too many questions." Realizing Mr. Tho was indeed dead, Van still felt obligated. The cyclo driver, frustrated, suggested returning him to the bus and leaving. He helped Van move the body, then hurried off, cursing Van's perceived foolishness. Van, unsure whether to leave or wait for the police, decided to inform Mr. Tho's family and handle the necessary procedures. Fate had made her the first witness to his sudden death while they were chatting. She had told him about her impending move to Canada. He had expressed happiness for her, albeit with a hint of sadness for his own unfulfilled dreams. Van, unable to host the farewell party she had promised, now helped with Mr. Tho's funeral. His sparse funeral, held on a rainy, windy day, took place at Tan Viet Cemetery. The waterlogged ground made it difficult to bury the coffin, which floated until secured with sticks. Despite the challenging conditions, the family persevered until Mr. Tho was finally at rest. From the moment she heard the cyclo driver confirm that Mr. Tho was dead, Van suddenly felt scared and did not dare to look at his face anymore. But what could she do now? Curious pedestrians gathered more and more each time because the cyclo man was waving his legs, waving his arms, and talking too loudly. He was bored and told Van, "Kachon, just early in the morning, I had bad luck. Now help me lift him up, Leave him on the bus, and anyone can do whatever they want. I'm not involved in this case." Having finished speaking, he carried the corpse under his armpits and told Van to hold Mr. Tho's legs. Van hesitated to stand still. The cyclo driver had to scold her loudly before he began to carefully carry the lifeless body onto the bus and put it behind the wheel. Then the cyclo driver rushed down the street, got into his car, and hurried away, cursing Van for being stupid. Van got out of the car and stood wondering on the side of the road, not knowing whether to leave or wait for the police to come to report. The crowd gathered around each person asking a question. Van absent-mindedly answered and then decided to pick up Honda's hug to inform Mr. Tho's family and go to the hospital to carry out procedures to receive his body for burial. Fate arranged for him to die suddenly, and by chance, Van was the first person to witness his sudden death while he was talking to her. More than a month ago, Van told him that she was waiting to settle in Canada under her brother's sponsorship. Mr. Tho blinked and said, "Happy for you." But clearly, his voice was a bit sad for his fate, dreaming of going abroad but having no way. He told Van, "I also heard that you are going abroad. People say that's why you definitely haven't gotten married yet." Van smiled and said again, "Before I leave, my family will definitely have a farewell party for the neighbors. Please come and have fun with my family." "Yes, it's so precious. When you think of me, I'm happy. I should come see you off." The story seems like it was just yesterday. Van had not yet left, had not yet had time to organize a party for Mr. Tho when he returned to the other side of the world. Van ran home to tell the news, then together with Mr. Tho's brother took him back from the morgue. Bought him. Buried land at Tan Viet Cemetery near Ba Queo. Van was present from beginning to end, from the moment of burial until the grave. Mr. Tho's funeral was sparse and happened on a rainy, windy day. The cemetery was in a low-lying area, and the water was immense. The coffin dropped into the grave kept floating, forcing people to use sticks to press both ends down to cover the ground. No matter how much soil was filled, the soil immediately turned into mud as the water flowed away. It was very difficult for the family members before Mr. Tho felt at ease.